One two one two one two one two. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Coming off a hard shift today. Just kidding. Nothing is hard. Don't forget that. Things are only difficult if you label them as that. We're going to be talking about awareness today and how understanding what it is can transform your life almost instantaneously. And how you, without even realizing it, may have been programmed to think you know what's going on, what's good for you, but in reality, you were just part of a bigger plan, bigger program to keep you stuck, to keep you down, so you can further accelerate others people's agendas, the plans they have for them to benefit off your shortcomings. Hopefully, you guys can hear me on here. If you can hear me, drop a hi, drop a hello. Likes are great, follows are great. We're going to be talking about awareness. Awareness is the key to your transformation. I will repeat that. Awareness is the key to your transformation. Majority of people watching this, majority of people right now might be in a situation where they feel that they've been dealt a bad hand, that life has just been a series of luck, unfortunate incidents. But the truth is, there is no such thing as bad luck. There is no such thing as unfortunate incident. Everything that happens, you give it meaning. So if you define as something being bad, then it will be bad. However, there can be somebody in the same exact situation as you that can look at that same event, perhaps not as good, but more as an opportunity. And you have to start shifting your thinking on an almost minute by minute basis in order to start creating a better life. Wherever you're at right now, whatever point you're at, whatever things you're going through, you're going to stay in that place if you continue to think that you're in no control of it, that everything is happening to you, and that you're a victim of your circumstances. When the truth is, almost everybody that's going through something, someone has already gone through it, and someone has not only gone through it, but has figured out how to use that situation, flip it, and create a better life for themselves. And they did all that by being aware that their circumstances were not going to control them, but instead that they were going to control their circumstances. See, the thing we fail to realize is just like a computer, just like a phone, we are all running on programs. Everybody has an individual program that they've had downloaded into them. Even brothers and sisters that are a year or two apart, you may think that because they were raised in the same house by the same parents, that their programming is going to be identical to each other. And that's just not the case because whoever their parents were when they were one, they were not the same parents a year later. On surface, it may look like it, but the truth is, as much as we would want, some would want for things to just stay the way they are, things are always happening. Things are always occurring. Things break down. We run into problems. And then it's a matter of how we handle it that determines the outcome of it. And if you have kids, they're going to be watching all this. And these things that you do that your kids see are the program that gets downloaded into them to then have them think that this is how life works, this is how you handle a situation. So if you're making terrible choices, if you think you're really bad at handling tough situations, I can tell you that it's not your fault because more than likely you learned these behaviors by watching somebody when you were young, when you were a baby. If you have it, that's why they say people that have parents that are addicts are way higher of them becoming addicts themselves. Not because it's hereditary, not because they're doomed, but because there's a good chance that at a very young age they observe their parents, maybe not deep in their addiction, but in one way or another already engaging in that. Oh, I think the real bummer is almost nobody's going to hear this. I'll keep talking, I'll keep making these videos, but for whatever reason, it's just not what people want to hear. And I get it. It's not easy to hear that you can control your situation because most people are happy riding in the passenger seat of the vehicle that's called their life and letting everybody else be in the driver's seat. Why? Because when things go wrong, it's a lot easier to blame the person that's driving than to take accountability for yourself. But the moment you decide to take the keys and jump in the driver's seat, oh, get ready because life comes at you fast. You start operating on a whole new level, but at the same time, you have a lot of old issues, a lot of problems that you've been avoiding that will for sure pop up sooner than later, and the universe is going to test you to see if you're serious about now living in this new state, about being this person that you say you are. And if you're truly aware, you'll not only be able to handle it now, but you'll be able to handle it with a smile on your face because as tough as the situation you're going to deal with once you're living in this new state of mind, this new state of awareness, you'll be fully aware that once you get on the other side of this problem, you're going to be an even stronger person than you've already become aware that you are. See, the problem is we live in a very abundant country. If you're here in America, America, I still think is the best country in the world because of the opportunities that we have to create a better life for ourselves. However, you also need to be aware that the way the system is set up, it's set up for you to doubt yourself, to doubt your creativity, and to just be one of the masses that kind of just moves whatever the agenda is of the people that are really in charge. I'm not talking about politicians because politicians are all controlled too. But if you can put yourself in a state of awareness to realize what's really going on and that you, only you, can control your life, you'll quickly stop caring what other people are telling you to think about yourself, about where we live, and you'll become grateful. You'll become grateful not just for being here, but for being alive and for having the chance to make the changes that you need to make, for having an extra day to work on yourself, to start looking for the job you've been looking for, to build a career that you've been wanting to build. But you have to tap into that level of awareness because if not, your old way of thinking, the old you, will surely creep back in and kick you out of the driver's seat, tell you to hold on. It'll take you right back to where you used to be, doing the things you didn't want to do anymore, hanging out with people you said you were done hanging out with. But if you can continue to stay at this level of awareness, there is no ceiling. I mean, there is no ceiling to what you can accomplish. But you have to realize that in order to live a better life, that's going to require you to become better at handling bigger problems. That's just how it goes. There was a time years ago where all I wanted to do was to not drink, was to go more than a few days without drinking. That's how bad it was. Now, plus 4 years sober, and I've got a whole other set of problems that I'm handling, I'm taking care of, and I'm figuring out. You see, I heard recently that to know that you have a blessed life is to have worries about problems that you once wish you had. That's that's having awareness. So can you honestly look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're living to your highest potential, that you're doing or not doing the things that you know you need to do or avoid doing in order to step your life up so you can create a better life here on earth and stop waiting for the right time? Because understanding and being aware of time is to know that the only time that exists is now. The only time to do anything is now. If you're waiting for the right time, for the right month, for the right season, it's never going to come. It's never going to come because tomorrow is going to look a lot like today unless you make the changes. So become aware. Whatever your last name is, wherever you were born, whatever your ethnicity is, none of that stuff determines your life. You've just been programmed your whole life to think that it does. But the one thing I've learned from studying multiple successful people from all walks of life is that bringing awareness to yourself as a spiritual being instead of a physical one will then give you not just the energy, but truthfully the guts to go out and chase your dreams and take on the challenges that you've been wanting to but been scared, and understand that no setback is a real setback if you continue to push forward. All they are learning lessons. That's it. You get lessons from life, and the biggest one is if you stop wherever you're at, you're done. If you're waiting for people to come save you, to come help you become a better person, you're done. No one's going to do the work for you. And there's no way that you can get the blessings that are deserved to you unless you become the person that you're supposed to be. You see, God doesn't make mistakes when it comes to that. There are things that I'm working towards in my life that I have yet to achieve, and I am fully aware that that's because I'm not that person yet. But I'm working my way to it. I can almost touch it. So, can you instill a sense of resilience, a do not give up attitude that will define you now? Not your name, but the attitude and how you take on your problems will be what identifies you now. So, can you be aware that when the issue comes up, when you have a problem, you not only take care of it, but you dig real deep to see what lesson needed to be learned. Not what lesson can you learn, what lesson needed to be learned. Because unless you get the lessons from the tough situations that you're going to be in, you're not going to be rewarded with the true blessings after. Stop blaming other people. Stop blaming your mom and dad, your brother and sister for not being where you're at. Does that mean you may have experienced things that weren't fair? Of course. Happens to almost everybody. But if you're sitting around blaming them for why your life is not where it's at, well, that's like you taking a poison pill and hoping somebody else gets sick. You're the one holding on to all that baggage, while the other person may not even realize that there's a problem. That's awareness. When you're sitting there having thoughts that are going to cause you to doubt yourself, to beat yourself up, you're able to snap out of it and realize how special today is. That's awareness. There's no one in life that's going to come do the work for you. You may have people that give you advice, that give you guidelines, but as hard as it is for most people, you have to understand that you are not the most important thing in other people's lives. The same way that other people should not be the most important thing in your life. Now, again, this is not referring to kids, or your sick parents, somebody that you have to caretake for 24/7. However, the majority of us have been blessed, and we have to realize that if things aren't where we want it to be, we need to stop pointing the finger outward and point it back at ourselves. That's awareness. Can you say that the things that didn't work out this past month, this past year, were all your fault? Or are you going to argue and start giving reasons and excuses and sound like a victim to say, no, you didn't get to where you're at because of this, this, and that? Do you see how important that shift in mindset is? If you can take back control of your circumstances, you take control of the energy that you operate off of. So we're going to end this short, guys. Love you all. Take care.